All right, here's a quick video about your fertility in relationship with the moon cycle. So no matter what you are using your fertility for, whether it is making a baby or you're using your fertility as your creative force in your art or for your projects that have to do with work or projects around your house, whatever it is that you're directing that energy toward, getting to know the sun-moon angle in relationship to your own fertility is going to really help you focus more of that potent energy into whatever that project is that you want to focus on. So first, let's start by looking at the sun-moon angle. So all the time, the sun and moon are in some sort of relationship to each other. We know that when they're in opposition, that's a full moon. Then say the sun's here, the moon's here. The next day, the moon's going to move a little bit. The moon moves about, it takes about 2.5 days for the sun to move through each sign of the zodiac. And I don't know the exact amount of degrees that it moves right off the top of my head. I guess that would be about 30 degrees every 2.5 days. That was easy. So I was like, oh God, there's math. This is going to be hard. But that was actually an easy one. So anyway, when this happens, there's always a new relationship being created. And for you, whatever phase of that cycle that you were born into, this is going to be your specific moon phase. So I just want to make this really clear because for a long time in my life, I thought that I was supposed to be in sync with the moon phase in the sky. So I'm either bleeding at the new moon or I'm bleeding at the full moon. And if it was anything in between there, I felt like I needed to achieve something, like I needed to aim for lining up with either the new or the full moon. It's just because I don't know why I thought that. There's just something that I thought that was supposed to happen. Well, actually, the way that our ancestors would keep track of their own fertility had to do with knowing the sun-moon angle at the time of their birth. So if I know the exact degree the sun and moon were in relationship with each other at the time I was born, that's going to be my fertility point. So every time the sun and moon make to this waxing gibbous phase, not just in general waxing gibbous, but directly lining up. So you need to know the degrees of your sun-moon angle. This is very important, especially if you're working with your fertility without birth control and you're doing your rhythm method and you can't just use one of these methods. It's the more information that you have, the stronger your effect will be, whatever that effect might be, whether you were trying to create a baby, trying to not create a baby, or you want to harness that potent life force energy and put it into your projects. This is really super important for any of those three things. So if I know that I was born during the waxing gibbous, the moon is now in waxing gibbous, and it's lined up today, right now, with my personal sun-moon angle, and it's the exact time that I'm ovulating. So this has been not happening for years, partially I think because of pregnancy, having kids, using forms of birth control that were not natural, so chemical birth control. And then it takes, after the last time you take some kind of chemical birth control, it's going to take your body a while to catch its rhythm again. So, and it doesn't mean that, if you don't reach having your fertility cycle line up exactly with the phase of the moon that you were born into, that there is no achieving something here. It is just come to me today like, oh wow, it's lined up now. And I wonder, is it gonna stay lined up? I don't know if it is or not, but I feel really amazed and blessed and happy, like, wow, it's lined up. And before, the way that I would work with this, knowing my own, like I know when I ovulate, I know what phase my cycle is in all the time. And I highly recommend that you know that. And if you're in a partnership, that your partner also knows that, because you can use that timing of your physical body for so many wonderful things in co-creating your relationship. It is the most potent part of having a shared experience with your physical body, with somebody, lining up with your fertility cycle and knowing how to use that and knowing how to work with that. Even if it's just to know, like, you know, this is the time I'm ovulating, let's make a baby, or this is the time I'm ovulating, let's not make a baby. Like, that's really important. But also for just being able to relate with each other, and you want to know where your partner's at emotionally and what phase of the moon her body is in, because you might not see that physically. It'll be subtle, and maybe the more you're together and the more that she's tracking and you're tracking, the more you'll be able to recognize the more subtle things. So for men, like if I'm in relationship with a partner, I want to know what phase of the moon that he was born into, and then be able to also watch that and notice the changes from day to day. My male teacher, one of my male teachers, who I think he's like 70 now, said that he definitely feels his moon phase. So if you're tracking the outer moon, watching the moon in the sky as it goes through its phases, and you know your inner moon phase, now you're able to be in this relationship as above, so below. And you're having your own moon phase in relationship with the outer moon phase, and getting to experience how those rhythms and tides work within your own body. So yes, I definitely would want to, if I were a man or if I were in partnership with a man, I would want to know his moon phase also. I feel like you can co-create with that energy as well. So say I don't bleed. I'm even a person that just doesn't bleed. Let's just say that, because it doesn't necessarily mean a man. Say I'm somebody who doesn't have a menstrual cycle. Well, when the sun and moon reach my lunar birthday, waxing gibbous, that still is my peak time. That is still going to be my fertility point. So even though there is no menstrual cycle happening, this is still a moment in my physical body being in relationship to the sky and to the earth. This is a point for me to be grounded into my creations and my creative energy out in the world. So it's definitely something you can still use. And if nothing else, I mean, why not have a birthday, a lunar birthday every month, that this is my creative peak, and to be able to harness that energy and make something. If you're into doing art, or if you have, you know, some sort of projects that you want to launch and get started and fertilize them, you want to, you know, bring your thought seed down into your body to fertilize your body with that thought seed, and be able to use your energy to cultivate and grow whatever it is that you want to put into motion and to grow. So there you go. Quick video about fertility in relationship to the moon cycle. If you have questions, please feel free to ask. I did another video series about how to calculate your moon phase. I think it's really, really important, and more important than knowing your rising sign or knowing, you know, it's an overlooked aspect of astrology. A lot of people, even people who are into astrology, don't know what phase of the moon they were born into. And this is a really crucial thing. It's super simple. We see the sun, we see the moon. You don't have to be into astrology even to know what angle the sun and moon were at when you were born. And next level, of that is to understand what that imprint has on your body and on your psyche, on your soul. So thank you so much, and I look forward to connecting with you soon.